So this morning, I want to start with a story. A friend of mine, Tony Rodriguez, reminded me of a story that I just love, and I wanted to share with you. And I think you'll as we go through this morning, you'll see how it ties into absolutely everything. So a gentleman was walking down the beach one day, and off in the distance, he saw a boy picking things up off the sand and throwing them in the water. He picked something up and throw it in the water, and pick something up and throw it in the water. And as he walked up, he noticed that there was just a bunch of starfish had washed up on the beach. And the boy was throwing one after the other after the other. And the man said, what are you doing? And the boy said, well, I'm throwing the starfish back in the water, so they'll be okay. And he said, the man said, well, that's not, how are you going to make a difference? I mean, that's not making it, what difference does that make? You throwing the starfish back in the water. And the boy picked one up, and he threw it in the water and said, it made a difference for that one. Yeah. So today we're talking about peace, and we've been going through this month with the Peace Project, and it's been a great journey. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes reviewing, since today is like the last day of the cycle. I want to spend a couple minutes reviewing where we've come from this month. And so we started the month. Reverend Jill started the month with mercy. Mercy being choosing to express compassion and forgiveness rather than punishment or harm. Mercy, and she went on to say, mercy elevates us above the drama of the details and allows us to connect to the larger story. And so for mercy, we went on to kindness. Kindness being acting kindly, living kindly, smiling, coming from a sense of givingness, allowing somebody else to have the parking place, opening the door for somebody, allowing somebody to walk in front of you, to go ahead of you, to, if I've got a dozen things in my basket and somebody has two, let them go ahead. So just in general, just acting kindly in the world. Because when we do that, that is a reflection of our own consciousness. And Reverend Joe brought up the quote from Ernest Holmes where he says, we attract to ourselves those kinds of thoughts and experiences which are like our own habitual thinking. And it's in our thinking that drives the way we act, drives the way we behave in the world. And then last week we had thankfulness. And Reverend Joe brought up spirit, the line, it's paraphrase Isaiah. Spirit goes before me, making plain and straight my way. Spirit goes before me, making plain and straight my way. And she shared her own mantra saying, the universe is for me. I live in God's grace. All is well and unfolding for my good. And then again, I was reminded, as I was thinking about all this, my friend Tony Rodriguez, I spent some time with during the week online. And I don't know if he borrowed it from somebody or if it's his own, but he commonly says this. He says, what if you woke up today with only those things, or what if you woke up tomorrow with only those things you were grateful for today? What if you woke up tomorrow with only those things you were grateful for today? Wow. It kind of hits you right where you live, doesn't it? So today we're going to go on and talk about the title I was given for today, and the title I like, A world of wonder. Flashes of wonder is kind of the theme for the week, for the theme for the month, and a world of wonder. I love the picture of the little boy because I look at that and I think that's the way I want to walk in the world. Day in, day out. That's the way I want to walk in the world. And I suspect most of us probably do. Because that is, for me, that is living in a world filled with possibility. It's like I walk in the world without preconceptions, without pretense, without attachment or expectations about what I'm going to be met with, other than something that's amazing, right? A 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old is constantly walking through the world going, wow. When was the last time, I'm going to ask myself, when was the last time I really walked into a situation and was just struck, dumbstruck with wow? How much wow is there in my life? In the good way. I mean, there's the wow, really? Not that one. It's not that. It's wow. Amazing. So yesterday, and I'm going to tell a quick story. I hope this is quick. And Carl, this is going to be the link I gave you. There's going to be a link in the chat, and I'm sorry, Joe, I didn't give it to you in time, but it'll be in the chat. So if you want to go find it in the YouTube chat, it'll be there. I was pulling music together for today. And as often happens, YouTube will throw up stuff that I've looked at before saying, hey, you want to look at this again? And it pulled up this song, The Sound of Silence, originally by Simon & Garfunkel, has been covered a few years back, or redone a few years back by a heavy metal band called Disturbed. And I was like, yeah, great song. Maybe we could use the Simon & Garfunkel version, but the Disturbed version is actually really cool. Anyway, I moved on. But it threw up in the side thing all these suggestions about blind reaction videos done by classically trained singers, composers, and such. So I pulled up this one which was a blind reaction by a classical singer and voice coach. And so she pulls this up, says, "Hey, I looked at this. I looked at the group. Thank you for your suggestions. We're going to do the sound of, so I haven't watched this yet. I've looked at, I've done some research on the group, but that's about it." And so she goes through and she watches the video and she stops and makes comments along the way. But by the end, by the last 45 seconds of the song, which is a pretty long song, it's about a 4.5-minute song, she couldn't stop. She was so engaged that she got captured by the magic of it. She was connected to it. And for me, that was the point. So I spent an hour and a half watching more blind reaction. Well, not an hour and a half, but another hour watching more blind reaction of these classically trained musicians to this one song. It was something they'd never heard, they'd never seen before. And they would not have expected to. And so how that connects to what we're talking about today is, because the word for today was peace, or is peace. So we've got mercy, thankfulness, mercy, kindness, and then peace today. How much of our disruption or confusion or angst about life is driven by our preconceived notions and expectations about how life is supposed to be. We get attached to what our expectations are and our preconceived notions are about certain things. And so, as exemplified by this experience I had yesterday, day before, Friday, I watched these people have their expectations destroyed because they had preconceived ideas about what it was supposed to be. And they got totally caught off guard. By the end, the first one I watched, the young woman was in tears. And it is that beautiful a song. And so I invite you to look at it later. Just no time today. Anyway. And so it drove me to stop and really look at my own life and my own experience to say, okay, how am I limiting the possibility of experience in my life by hanging on to my own expectations of how things are supposed to be or how things should be or how people have told me I should be? Quite honestly, I probably should have just sent Joe the link and had him play the video. But I'm not going to beat myself up for not doing that. Because maybe I have preconceived notions about what that response might be in the space. Who knows? You see, because the combination of gratitude, kindness, and mercy does indeed lead to peace. As I was reading through the book, I went back to the beginning of the book, and there's a section in the beginning where they're setting up the whole idea of concept for the book, and the writer is talking about her experience of dealing with some traffic in front of her house. And she points to the idea that the first commandment, which is, or the newest commandment, she says, Jesus gives us the new commandment. Where does it go? Now I've forgotten it. Mm-hmm. Love one another. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy spirit is the first. The second is to love the neighbor as thyself. So those first two, gratitude, kindness, and mercy, lead to peace. They lead us to peace. And so however you frame that, whatever you call God, spirit, source, your higher power, that greater something that drives us, the core and center of our being, which is love and light and truth, when we live in this place and allow that to guide and direct us, then we inevitably stand in a place of peace. Because we live in that place, that is the place of gratitude, that is the place of mercy, that is the place of everything that we live. That is where we live in connection with one another. And when we live in connection, for me, that's the ultimate. When I walk around knowing that I am connected to you and everything else that I see and everyone else that I see, then all I can do is let go of all my preconceptions. Then all I can do is trade my sense of expectations about how things are supposed to be, is trade that in for a sense of intentionality about how I want to live my life. I want to live my life with a sense of connection. I want to live my life with a sense of love, of joy, of peace, of prosperity, of health, of wholeness. And all of this, I walk around with an intention about those qualities. And then, rather than live with expectation, walk with a sense of expectancy, knowing the good stuff's going to happen. Absolutely knowing that good stuff is not just going to happen, but is happening in my world. It's a subtle shift in words. I know it's a little tiny shift. But sometimes that little shift right here, at this point, makes a huge difference a mile down the road. Right? A 1 degree shift right here where I am is how, I don't know what that is down the road, but it's a lot. So if I can make that shift right here, imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities for walking around in a world with that kind of attitude, with that kind of expectancy. Waking up, that's the difference between waking up in the morning and saying, another morning, or waking up and bouncing out of bed and saying, yeah, another morning. What's possible today? What good stuff is going to happen today? What am I open to now? So as we begin to wrap it up this morning, just kind of go back just a little bit. We walk in thankfulness. It's remembering that the universe is always for us. Thankfulness and gratitude is reminding ourselves that the universe is always working for us. Mercy and kindness for me is about remembering that we are here walking each other home. We're walking with each other side by side, doing the best we can, not just for ourselves, but knowing that every time we improve our lives, that improves the lives of everybody else in one way or another. And then peace for me is, can I take a moment in the midst of chaos? Because we all look around and we see chaos from time to time. Can I take a moment and pause in the midst of chaos and see it for what it is? See, because even the chaos is the activity of God preparing me for something that I had not expected. The midst of chaos is preparing me for something that I had not expected. So I need to let go of what I thought I was doing or what I thought was going to happen and trust that something even greater is happening for me and for all those around me right now. So let's go into practicing the principles. Just a couple this week. What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Is the question to ask. What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? And then with that is, what can I choose? What kind of preconceived ideas and concepts can I choose to let go of? To kind of make room for something else. Make room for something better. And then secondly, where can I step in to a sense of expectancy? Where can I trade expectation for expectancy? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to explore that this week and see what you come up with. So with that, we'll go into just a few minutes of question and answer opportunity, and that includes those of you online. If you have a question from the online space, you can put it in the chat, and we'll see what we can do about that. But what about you here? Anybody? Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, and thank you for Jamie Lula.
Oh, sure. We'll have more Jamie after this.
I love that. It brought back such memories as being in Agape in LA and watching him sing and actually compose right in front of you, and his zest and his enthusiasm and his really love for God and energy is so fabulous. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as expectation, I'll make this brief. A little story I heard once was a man whose life was pretty much full of despair. There wasn't anything good happening for him, and he was being counseled. And his counselor had one thing to say for him because he just couldn't look forward to anything. He said, I want you to put a little saying in front of your mirror, and I want you to say it every day, twice a day. Good things are always coming my way. And the man's life in a year was miraculously changed. So you can't say that. And I often do that myself, say good things are constantly coming my way. And I believe it. So that makes a difference. So thank you.
Bravo.
Yeah. Yes.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Penny.
So I went to a group a while ago, and it taught us to don't have expectations, because expectations lead to disappointment, anger, and happiness. So that's pretty much what I do. So when things happen, it's like, okay, they weren't supposed to, or they were, whatever. And then chaos, when chaos happens, I just kind of breathe. I never go into it. I just kind of, and then do whatever I need to do. So this practice, has really helped the reminders, and yeah, good service.
Great. Thank you, Penny. Y'all can clap if you want. I mean.
Anybody else?
Anything from online, Carl? No? All right.
I have one little thing.
You have one thing. Okay.
Yeah. So at one time, Carl and I wrote a talk on unspoken expectations, because a lot of times you have an expectation and you're hoping it'll happen, but you never tell anybody. So it's kind of like you need to acknowledge it yourself to know what that expectation is, and then live in the expectancy that it will come.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That just reminded me that when we do the prayer treatment, we release it in expectancy. So throughout the day, as you're thinking, oh, I hope this will happen, oh, just, you live in expectancy, just knowing it's going to happen for you.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's take this. Let's take all this into affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. And so, as we go within to this still and quiet place, we recognize and know that there is only one. That this one power and presence is in us and through us and all around us. It is love and light and peace. It is gratitude, mercy, kindness, and peace. It is all of this and so much more. And so in this moment, we speak this word knowing that it's already complete, that all we're doing is shedding light on something that is already present, for the gift is already given. The divine life already knows what it is that we seek, that we accept, that we celebrate. And so I know for each and every one that peace and love and joy inspire and guide us on our direction, or in our direction, each and every day. That health and wholeness and prosperity are our divine birthright, and we experience and express it right here and right now. Knowing that every need is met, every heartfelt desire is already fulfilled. I speak this word for each and every one of us here and those online, knowing that there is no time, no space at the level of spirit. It is all right here and right now. And so with gratitude, we go forth into the rest of this day and this week, knowing that life is good and very, very good as each and every one of us. The joy and love serve as our compass. The divine life itself fills our sails and drives us forward as we walk each other home. And we let go knowing it is already complete. And so we let it be, and so it is.